Welcome to the Dream Big Summit, creating a better life for yourself and the planet. And I am very excited to have Anuradha Dasi here with us. Dasi meaning a servant in Sanskrit, and that is what she embodies. She's gone to India. She went to India when she was 17. She became a temple dancer. She lived the proverbial life of the pilgrim who went to India, coming from an American Indian background, from the Canadian side, and then going to India and then bringing dance, beauty into her life. Anuradha is here to share with us her understanding and amazing insights into bringing spirituality and embodiment here into this earth life, and the femininity, the beauty, the pilgrimages, she takes people out on wild horses into the canyons of the American Indians. And I want to share with people this beautiful video where you dance with Patrick Bernhardt, with whom you've been dancing as a dancer to sacred song in cathedrals, even Catholic cathedral, for the last 20 years. So Anuradha, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and helping us understand greater aspects of living a spiritual life embodied as a goddess.
Que c'est une musique thérapeutique, une musique de guérison. Le miracle s'opère à travers cette transmission d'énergie spirituelle qui dépasse l'entendement. C'est pour ça qu'on dit que c'est un miracle, ça dépasse les lois scientifiques.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm a servant to all the goddess, so to all the women and all the souls that are aspiring for consciousness. So I enjoy doing that, and that's where I feel that my inner well of love is always refilled from being able to support everyone with that type of service.
And I want people to see your beauty and sacredness as a feminine expression of a temple dancer who is also American Indian, in this next little bit of a clip of just a 1-minute film where you are, I believe, in the cathedral in Canada.
Yes, that concert was given in the largest Catholic church in North America. It's called the St. Joseph Oratory. And it's a place that many thousands and thousands of pilgrimage every year. There's, I think, about 500,000 pilgrims that goes there for healing. So it's a very sacred place, and we were invited by the Catholic Church to give a concert. And even if they knew that our concerts are really touching every sacred cultures, so we've been honoring as many cultures as we can. And I think the clip you're going to show is a Cherokee song. It's a healing song that I do during the concerts, because I always love to honor the Native American who's been protecting the lands for generations and generations.
Right. So let us take a moment of silence for that, and we'll be coming back to you in a minute. Well, having watched that, I am so touched, Anuradha. I am so in awe, and I love how you express beauty. And tell us about your pilgrimage to India, which brought you from a concept of completely renouncing everything, the typical understanding of a yogic path, to becoming embodied beauty and spreading and arching between renunciation and service and dedicating your life to service, but yet retaining that incredible riches of femininity in that. Tell us about that.
Wow, that's a long journey to explain. I, it started. I was honest trying to find myself when I was 16. So it started actually younger than 17, and at the age of 17, I had a vision that I needed to go to India. So, and I kind of I come from a very small village, we basically a tiny little village, where anything that was related to India, Tibet, no one knew anything about that or even where it was located on the map. So when I first started to, I kind of just had this call I had a friend in Nepal who said, come and join me. I'll bring you up in the Himalayas. He could speak Sharpa. So I said, okay, I'll come and join you. But I first had to land in India and figure out how to get to Nepal. And I was 17. So I remember I took the flight just because my heart was saying that was where I needed to go. Completely in an innocent, full faith and surrender. And I remember on the transit, I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Where am I going to sleep? Like I started to analyze what I was doing. And then people around me were making me really feel afraid because they were like, what? There's millions of people live in Delhi and all this. So this guy gave me just a hostel name where to sleep. So when I arrived, at least I had a name to say where to go. And the entire trip was just pure beauty and pure like magic. Like everywhere I was protected, I was escorted, and I did all of Buddha's pilgrimage, but I stayed with the Sharpas in the Himalayas. I stayed with the refugees in the caves. I had like a very strong renunciation, like you said. Like I renounced everything. I came back with nothing from that trip. Like I was staying in the Himalayas with like my bathtub where I was taking a shower was with the buffaloes, and just tossed them. Not easy to take a bath with buffaloes in the same pond. So I came back. I had really changed my perspective of reality and how simplicity is much stronger. So when I came back home, I was kind of lost because I had found myself, and to some degree, I had understood like who I was and not what society wanted me to be, but trying to fit who I was into the format of society, I couldn't figure out how that was possible. My parents brought me to a Costco, and I literally had a meltdown because I was like, this is overconsummation. Like, how can the Mother Earth survive this? And yes. I just went on a pilgrimage around Quebec because I was like, I went all around India and I don't even know my own backyard. So I went all around Quebec. It was a little bit more dangerous than India, actually. Because I was crossing forests in the nighttime and sleeping outside, and a couple of tides around the ocean managed to almost eat me alive. And so I really I wanted to understand what was my mission in life. Like, how was I going to, all these pearls that I had gotten in India, I realized in India, how do I put them in practice in society, in my life? Like, how do I root them deep inside the soil of this civilization that I can actually bear fruits and be a participating member of this society? And that wasn't easy. Like, I really I wasn't going to take any little answer. I wanted to know what was my dharma, my mission in life. So I walked and walked and walked, and I think I hit at a certain point. People said not to stop walking because it was getting too cold, so that I started hitchhiking. I went all the way to where there's no more road up in northern Canada, and then came back down because winter was coming. Wasn't Game of Thrones then. Came back down, and then when I got back, I was sleeping outside. I couldn't sleep inside anymore, and then I got this revelation. I was outside listening to the stars, listening to the sky, and I heard so clearly service, devotion, and to be of service to all living entity and all creation, not just human, everyone. So, and I said, I can live with that. I can do this.
Okay.
I don't know if I can do it, but I can try.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm willing. Okay.
And not too long after, when I accepted it, because you can hear it and then not accept it, but when I accepted it, I met Patrick Bernard like about a week after.
Which
that.
is this phenomenal musician. I mean, everybody needs to know Patrick Bernard's music. I urge you. And later on, when people check in with your free gift that you're giving, they'll be able to go on to
Yes,
and find
listen,
music.
because we perform and we do all the music too. We've been doing the music together for multiple years, but he is also not only an amazing musician, but he's
A
an
saint.
encyclopedia
Yeah.
of knowledge. Like
Yeah.
he knows from every single tradition. He can quote you in their language. Like he was one of my first like guide and pointing me into the right direction of really finding the information that I needed to really embark in my service and my Seva journey.
You know, I love the moment that you've shared with me before where you had decided, okay, you're going to be renounced. This is it, the typical Indian thing. You're not going to, consume anything, which I was on when I was that age. And, it's like gray was the best color, none of this pink and flowery stuff and radiant stuff, none. But there was this one really meaningful incident between you and Patrick Bernard. Can you recount that for us here?
I would be happy to. When I met Patrick, I was living, like I said, outside. I had cut my own hair. I was like wearing the same clothing. I was like, I didn't want to have anything, and I had renounced everything. So and then when I met him, he tried to give me a shirt. And my first reaction was like, I don't want anything. I've renounced, also with the ego of it, I've renounced everything, why are you trying to give me something? And then he looked at me, and because he's such a deep well of knowledge, he says to me, he's like, what are you renouncing? Why would you renounce this gift? This doesn't even belong to you, nor would it ever belong to you. Everything belongs to God. We're just the servants on this conscious level. So we thinking that anything belongs to us is a false concept of realization. So you can't renounce anything if nothing has ever belonged to you, nor can you exploit it. You can only do what is called yukta viragya. Engage everything that is in front of you towards consciousness. That was a great lesson. He destroyed everything I had.
Believed in.
Yeah.
Your great concept of being a renunciate.
Entire big ego of renunciation got destroyed.
So did you change fundamentally into a different person, or did you change your approach to renunciation?
It was a long process in a way that, because when I first met him, he saw me dance because he was practicing all the time. Patrick gives concerts like nonstop at his own property. So I started to dance spontaneously, and I had started to study temple dance in India before. So he saw me and he said, this is what I've been looking for. And he had a sold out concert. So he said, come and perform. So when I went, I was still in the concept of renunciation. So I went to perform, but I didn't want to do anything external. So I performed with my eyes closed, and my hair was like really short. And I wore like a potato bag style of cloth, So the women after the show came to see me, and they said, it was really beautiful, the dance. You could feel the devotion, the love, but ecstatically, it would be nicer if you could do something externally with it. And I felt like it was a direct instruction from the Divine Mother, because it came from the women's, and it was like beauty can be engaged for remembering divine beauty. And if you really wear it like that, you're wearing this beauty, you're doing it, but for the service of remembering the Divine Mother, not because you want to be honored. You want the divine beauty to be honored. And that is how I engage for me. And we can go deeper in multiple other levels, but the basic of it is that to understand that when you're doing it out of service, so that people, when they see you, they remember
the
divine.
Yes. After all, if you look around, God creates. The creation is full of beauty. I have here as an orchid, right? Not in the view, but here the lily. And I went exactly through the same thoughts. And then I once met this beautiful American black American woman, and I said, "You're so beautiful." And she said, "You know what I do? I look at everything that's beautiful and adore it." And it just makes me radiate that same beauty, because after all, that's what creation does. So tell me a little bit about how that actually can be utilized as a way to create a deeper access to your soul, rather than as a hindrance, which it oftentimes is portrayed as, right? Possessions and beauty and all things are oftentimes thought by the Hindu culture to be in the way. Even the monastic Western cultures have said so, you know, and it's very rigid in a way. But tell us how you can utilize beauty and the perception of beauty as a way to open your doorways to the divine.
Well, it wouldn't be my perception. It would be the perception of, from the Vedic aspect, if you really go deep into the Vedas, and also from even an indigenous aspect. There is nothing closer to divine consciousness than beauty. And this is written word to word in Sanskrit. And even Shishidhar Maharaj, a great saint, said, if you have to surrender to something, and you don't know what to surrender to beauty, because it's the closest thing to God.
Right.
So in the portal access to what is God consciousness, there's an internal form of the absolute consciousness, which is called Ladini Shakti. And Ladini Shakti is the divine mother, but she's the pleasure potency. So the pleasure potency of God is this internal aspect that is divine beauty. And we say that all souls are expansion of the divine mother, so of divine beauty. So ultimately, in our heart, we have divine beauty.
We are.
And we have divine ecstasy. We have divine love. And we have divine consciousness. So if we want to be able to have a link connecting ourselves to the unlimited, we have to first dive deep inside our own heart and be able to really recognize that inner beauty, recognize that our individual soul, which is an aspect of the source, and be able to connect with it. And when you see that aspect of the source, it's not an external beauty. It's not something like that will last for just a couple of days or a couple of hours. It's an eternal beauty. And that beauty is our real self, is our real consciousness, is our real identity.
So actually, it is us looking out through the lens of appreciating beauty that opens that dialogue, right? Is that it? What you're saying is we are beauty. So when we open our eyes, and that's what we perceive. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful feedback loop between creation and the source, right?
Exactly. The more you see, the more you're able to recognize it externally, and you're able to dive deeper and connect to your own inner beauty internally, because we have that inner garden, that inner flower, that everything that we see externally can be ingrained, or can be like a garden can be expanded internally.
Yes.
But if we have gratitude, if we want to see beauty and we want it for our own sense gratification, that's not going to be creating an inner garden. But if you see beauty externally and are able to recognize it as something that is related to divine consciousness, and recognize it with your eyes, with your heart, and with gratitude, say, "Oh, thank you so much."
Right.
You know, I'm offering you in my heart to God and my own heart. Then you're connecting this external beauty to your internal beauty, which makes it that it becomes eternal in your own heart.
And it becomes grace. Yeah.
Yes. And it becomes exponential. It constantly evolves like an eternal flower that is constantly blooming externally, but because it's blooming from the internal aspect.
Right. Beautiful. Because you actually become the grace of God expressing and moving. All your movements, all your appreciations, your words, what you see, every thought will be of what is beautiful. Actually, I think that's a spiritual exercise that you recommend, right? Gratitude and beauty. Tell us about that one.
Well, I think, a lot of people, especially that I've been put in my path to teach to a lot of the youth with Big Island Farm Internship or program in Hawaii. So through that journey, I've been, having to reduce all these teachings that are, years into a condensed session, that I can make it that I can at least ingrain a couple seeds of consciousness into the soil of these beautiful young students from different universities. And so my first thing is always to get connected to Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is if we have gratitude towards everything she gives us, gratitude is the key to be able to perceive beauty. Because if you don't have gratitude, you perceive beauty in a way that it's yours, instead of seeing it as something that is connected to a higher goal. Right. And that you're basically of service of. So, and gratitude is the key that opens up the portal of the heart, that you can receive beauty into your own heart, and that it becomes exponential. So having gratitude towards Mother and everything that she gives us, all these beautiful flowers and everything, and then connecting. The second part is, with gratitude, you connect them through your heart, and then from your heart you offer them to divine consciousness. When you offered it, what happens? The beauty becomes eternal.
It becomes a dialogue with the divine. It's like you see and become the beauty. You're grateful for it. It's almost like your gratitude is the song is your service to God. It's seeing beauty is almost our duty.
It is our duty. And the thing is that if we only see beauty, we cannot criticize anyone. Right. We cannot judge anyone. And even the people that are doing the worst thing on this planet Earth, which sometimes a lot of presidents right now are doing that, you will see them still within the line of beauty and consciousness. And so you will see that they're just doing their service.
And affirm that. By affirming that, we co-create passages into a different future, I believe. We definitely
do. And it becomes like the Native American would say, chant and dance your way back to Wakatonka. And in Sanskrit, we have Shavanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. We first start by listening, then you go with the singing, and then you go with the dancing, and then you remember your true identity. And it's all about listening to your environment and be able to really glorify the beauty within it. And then after that, you're able to embody it with your actions. Right. Instead of just walking your way, you're dancing it, because you're in ecstasy. You're seeing consciousness through everything.
Right. And it's actually where we are vibrating at determines what we're able to see.
Obviously. And if you're vibrating at a low frequency, you'll see the negative aspect of everything. So why not feed your inner world with constant, with the way you're perceiving reality, that is coming through a gratitude, and also after that, increasing it by seeing the beauty in everything. And then after that, real knowledge about what is the true aspect, because negative and positive, they're all limited with time.
Right.
So the attention that you bring to them is what makes them that they will last for a longer period. So it makes it that you put everything back to perspective. So you decide every day, on the level, which frequency you want to be into.
And actually, I use it myself at home all the time as a gauge. If I'm capable of seeing beauty, I'm doing well. If I'm not, which happens, I go, okay, let me see 10 things that are beautiful. And I look and I gaze, and I'm going like, and as I do that, I mean, anybody may want to do this right now, is just look around where you are and focus on any one thing that may be considered beautiful. And do that with 3 or 4 things, and you'll start noticing how suddenly you feel this field effect creating a greater field within you. And tell us about, you come from interfaith approach of life. You've come from the American Indians, you've gone to India, you have, you dance in the Catholic Church, you see the profound sacredness in all things. Tell us a little bit about the divinity in all aspects and your concept of permaculture and how everything fits together.
Well, earlier we were talking about permaculture, which I think is for me is a great aspect to approach that, because we have a permaculture farm in Hawaii. And in the basic of permaculture, which we were discussing earlier, is that everything is supporting everything else. And there's a natural organic whole, how everything grows and how everything dances together. So in my world, it feeds each other and support each other. So we were talking about thorns, on a plant, how it will defend so that the deers won't eat the new growths, and also it will neutralize the soil, it will balance the soil. So all these different plants are supporting growth for a next process. And there's a natural growth within our own consciousness and our own evolution. Mm-hmm. You cannot pull the blade of grass for it to grow. So most people think, oh, we have to realize this right away, and if I don't realize this right away, I won't get to the next level. No, realize where you are and really dive deep into that frequency, because if you try to imitate something, it won't last. You'll be pulling on the blade of grass, and it won't have any more roots anymore to grow and expand. So my vision of the entire world, and that is how I constantly harmonize, because I travel in multiple different places. And the first thing I always say to people is first have respect of where you are. For example, if I'm in Hawaii, I will be respecting the culture over there, and I will be pointing in through the guidelines of that reality from the truth, from that angle of vision. If I'm in India, I will be pointing it through that angle of vision, from the Sanskrit system. And also the names of the plants and the names of the trees, the name of the winds, the name of the ocean in the particular language have a deeper meaning. So if you're able to respect that, you're able to open up a pathway that you're welcome into the sanctuary of this place on earth. So it's not that you're just seeing the thorny plants, you're actually being welcomed into the inner sanctuaries of these different cultures. So if we look at it and planet Earth, as just a permaculture design thing, is that you have all these different plants growing in all these different parts of the world. And if you're able to really see them on a global aspect, you're going to be able to realize that God has multiple names and multiple forms and multiple manifestations. So if you're able to respect all of them and be able to really see that they all have a place, and you're going to be able to see that everything is perfect.
And already interweaving to create a whole, not just a monoculture of belief.
Exactly. And you'll be able to love it. Like a great Saint Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to say, is if I go into a Catholic church, or I go in a Muslim church, a mosque, if I go into a Hindu temple, I'm always amazed. It keep that amazement of unlimited potential of God, because they say there's a same amount as name of God as a wave on the ocean. And when I speak about God, I always speak about the Divine Mother and Divine Father, so I don't limit it to a certain gender. But I think it's important that we respect every single aspect of the same truth, and also that we keep this amazement. And amazement is the source of beauty. So if we're amazed, we're going back to the same awe, we're going back to the same frequency, is that first you open up the portal, by being able to recognize basic beauty and with gratitude. But then after that, keep this amazement, never block your vision of reality. And if you're able to keep it fully open like a lotus, you're able to always be just in awe between creation. And then you
Yeah.
won't try to create reality. You'll actually be able to embody it, make it that it's revealed to you.
Ah, that's beautiful. Become the vessel through which the divine expresses itself as you walk your particular mission, which rather than telling the universe, no, you've got to only be purple. That's the only color that's really spiritual, right?
Yes, exactly. Most time we want to control the infinite. It's
Yeah.
like a cup that says, "Oh, I'm picking up the full ocean," and that's our intellect saying, "Oh,
Right. I
the
got
full
it.
ocean. I got it. You know, I realized it." Yeah, just little note like the ocean is still there. You just have a cup of it.
Yeah, right. Little note, the awesomeness is still surrounding you. I love that. One of the favorite books I love to read is called Enlightenment and was written by MSI. And in the teachings, and I think it goes along with your theme. He says, see beauty, be grateful, and be in awe about creation. And these 3 steps will open your facets of perception to where you start vibrating higher and higher, and you will then become the vessel of the divine. And when people, you teach at your permaculture place, you take people on retreats, you travel around the world, you do pilgrimages. You do it in a way that isn't like the usual teacher from the top on down. You invite people to tell us a little bit about how you work with people.
It's funny when people ask me, "What do you do during your retreat?" I'm just the driver and the cleaner. Those are my description. I'm just a servant. Um, it was given to me. I was asked 15 years ago by a saint in India. I do pilgrimage, and I have a couple of nonprofits that I've been helping, not only Native Americans, but also many different ashrams in India. So one time I was in India doing a pilgrimage, and for me, I do a pilgrimage to clean my own mind, my own heart, so that I really stay connected in a humility and a purity. And the saint said to me, "Next year you're coming with a group." And I said, no, I'm definitely not bringing people. Already it's so hard in India. And people that have been into India, like, know how hard it is. You're like, I'm not going with 30 people.
I know.
So my first reaction is no. And then I think about it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm constantly praying to the universe. Please engage me in service. And I'm given a direct service. My first reaction is no. Yes. And then I'm like, what type of integrity is this? So I go back and I say, yes, okay, I accept. I will do the service, and I only forgot a little detail that they don't really sleep. So the first group I brought, we didn't sleep for 2 weeks. So it was pretty intense. But at the same time, it was so ecstatic. And I, since then I have adjusted my retreat. So we do sleep during the retreat. But it was so powerful because I could see people doing quantum shifts inside their own consciousness, going beyond their own limits and really healing baggage from not only this life, but from past life. They were going into really stuff that I never thought was possible to even clean for, I can do it on my own self, but I won't be bold enough to say I can do it on other people. But if you create the environment where they can do it themselves, then it's possible. So, and with the holy sites and everything is increased when you're in a vortex. And on top of that, not only being in a vortex, you're with a group of people that is increasing the frequency in the vortex. So, and once a person really feels something inside, it has it will create a wave that other people opens up the door for other people to go and feel that frequency. So I've seen it on so many different levels, and I was so amazed that I decided, you know what, I want to do this now. I want to be able to support and bring groups everywhere, but not anywhere, like places that the earth would ask me to do it. So just
Tell me. I want you to tell everybody, because we were talking earlier and did a pre-recording conversation, and you are taking people to the Native American roots that you're also connected to Arizona, to Spiderweb Canyon. Correct me on anything. And you take people riding on horses, wild horses. Tell us about that. What do you do?
Well, so that one came later. I'll say about Hawaii first because
Yeah.
I
Yes.
I
Oh,
went
yes.
first to Hawaii.
Yes. Oh, that was magical. Tell me about that one.
So what happened? So India arrived first, and then after that, Hawaii arrived second. I was teaching. I teach sacred temple dance workshop and feminine workshop and chakra tunings and all these different workshops. I was invited in Tahiti because the women there they do a lot of dance, but they what happens with these types of dances, they kind of like leave away their own sacredness. So I went to teach for them to find and really stay connected with their own inner goddess when they're performing. So then the shamans brought me into the middle of the Tahitian island, and when I arrived over there, I knew that Pele's rock, because Pele, the goddess of Hawaii, came from Tahiti. So when I arrived over there, I got out and I went walking by myself in the jungle, and I felt this rock calling me. So I arrived over there and offered a hula and paid my
hula dance.
A hula dance, and then I paid my obeisance, and I heard clearly the rock ask, "Please bring a group to my island. We need to open up the kapu sites." So I said,
"Okay."
Okay.
What is that? The kapu?
Kapu sites are all the sacred sites that were closed because of
forbidden. Kapu is the word for forbidden. Yes.
Well, they were forbidden because they were closed. And when if you look at it in an external aspect, if you get hurt by someone, you will close yourself.
One will, yeah.
Because you don't want to get hurt again. So all those kapu sites were very sacred sites that got closed because they were afraid, because they were taken over by their entire island. So obviously, they didn't want any more people coming and exploiting them.
Right.
But it was time for healing. So I said, okay, and that's how it all happened for Hawaii. And that year, the volcano started to erupt, and Pele flew all the way back to the ocean in 2009. So I was really happy. All the confirmation comes. When you get a real service, you also have all the confirmation from Mother Earth. Oh. And after that, Bali came. And that's how I met you.
You came to our Shambhala Retreat Center. Wow.
Because Bali, and most people don't understand, but Bali has the most amazing shift between the frequency of positive and negative.
Oh, it is so potent.
And they're even alive, It's like what we would call demons and demigods. They live in harmony over there. If you're able to go to that platform and balance your inner shadows and your inner light, you're able to grow from that perspective.
Right. And that's what I feel Balinese people are capable of being, the embodied version of dedicated and embodied daily spiritual life, honoring. And of course they are in transition, but they still have preserved so much. I mean, I think one of the most preserved cultures. I love living there, and bringing, and they look at the negative like being part and parcel of the same fabric of life. It's like my gardener said, the checkerboard is made out of black and white. And if you stand on the white and there is a black one, it gives you an opportunity to give compassion and understanding to that which appears dark. It's like, oh, thank you, my gardener. All right. Yes, that's why I live in Bali. I just need a saint anyway. I mean, go out and talk to anybody. My gardener can do the most profound conversation.
Yeah, they have the most profound knowledge about the truth of reality. And friends or enemy, they don't have any difference. And it's like, so most of the time when you see something negative in your life, you'll just like criticize it. But that negative aspect is what is going to be able to bring you to this beautiful light of consciousness. So Bali is able to open the consciousness level to a 360 degree. And I love that when the service happened that I was asked to bring a group to Bali, I was so happy. I was like, yay. And it was to transform also our own inner negative aspect, our own inner demons into positive beauty.
Yes.
So that is what I love to work in Bali. And I oh my God, if no one has been to your center, Shangri-La is the most amazing place.
We call it Shambhala now.
I'm a big fan.
I know. It is heaven on earth to me, and that was the vision. And I thank you so much. And I adore you. I've seen you working. You are the embodiment of beauty and humbleness all in one. You have the wisdom of a saint. I mean, incarnationally purified yourself. And when I hear you talk, and I'm going to boast about you because you will never do that about yourself, so I am going to. Which has profoundly touched me, I've heard you, speak about situations where most people would have gotten, really defensive about their territorial space. And you just go like, it's not mine, it's like, it's God's and I will do my part. And the circle things come back to you if they're meant to be yours. And that's how you live, and that's how you talk, and that's how you walk. You are, I don't need to aggrandize you, but I feel I've learned from listening to you about simple things in life as well, I mean, just over lunch somewhere,
I love the simplicity and consciousness. I don't believe if you put yourself on a very high platform, you have a space to fall down from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if you stay close to this ground, to the earth, Mother Earth, in humility, you're not going to fall down from far up. So I love the path of like a humble servant, because I think for me, this is where I can really stay in my inner light and just be able to continue it from it to shine, instead of just having this constant egoism that is going to take me away from my little purpose in life, is sharing.
Oh, so gorgeous. Our time is running away. I need to cut this short. Thank you so much for sharing this much. I know you have that amazing gift. Can you tell us about it?
You can get the song, a free song, the Cherokee Algonquin song that I sing live with Patrick Bernard. So that will be available for anyone that signs up. And I'm also giving a discount on our Blu-ray and CD live at the Oratory of St. Joseph.
Oh, beautiful. And that will be part of what we saw, that song that you were singing there. Beautiful. Yes. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And then people will find out about more from you by going to anuradha.world. Anuradha with a DH. Anuradha.world. And find out about all your offerings, amazing teachings. And I love, and I want to take this into our second part of the conversation, of how we can be embodied goddesses, divinities, men and women alike, to live physically fully engaged and yet remain in center. And then how do you unify the spiritual and the manifest as a feminine expression of. And then also the archetype that you've chosen, the temple dancer, is an archetype. And the whole archetype around being a priestess, being a temple dancer, and being connected to the sensual world, the senses world. I would love to, because a lot of women want to know about that. A lot of women especially, and I hope all the men come with us about this, how we can embody and be spiritual in the next conversation as part of that. So I'm going to say goodbye for all the people in this free conversation with us. Thank you so much for having given your time. I know you're super busy, so I am so blessed that I got your moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste. See you in the next conversation for the All Access Pass paid people. See you.